The US have lost against Panama 2-1. And let me tell you guys, because of this result, it basically does mean that the US have to go up against Uruguay at the goddamn Kansas City Stadium, which is the Arrowhead Stadium, and the US have to go over there and win. Like, when I mean win in all realms. They have to win in terms of the playing style, they have to be dominant in every area, and they especially have to win in terms of the scoreline. They must win, because if the US do not win, then the US will leave, and they will leave the group stages and exit this tournament early. And the US are the exact same team that is hosting this tournament. Before this tournament even started, we stated that the US at the bare minimum have to finish in the quarterfinals. Bare minimum. We understand why they may not make it to the semifinals because of Argentina, Brazil, the Uruguays, and all those other teams, right? But at the bare minimum, you finish in the quarterfinals. And the fact that there is a chance that the US might get knocked out by Uruguay and get knocked out from this Copa America is going to be embarrassing. It is going to be just so embarrassing. Now you may question, right? What did the US do that allowed them to get defeated against Panama? Because the US were supposed to win. Like, they were supposed to win for sure. We expected for the US to go into second place in the group stages, but they have just lost against Panama. And what led to this moment? It is simply because Tim Weah made a huge mistake early in the game that got him a red card, and the US had to play with 10 men for 75 minutes. It was all going good for the US. Like, we saw Balogun score on the 22nd minute. We just thought that the US are gonna hold on there, maybe keep it on a 1-0 scoreline for the rest of the game, but everything fell apart immediately, like 4 minutes later after Balogun scored the goal, and Blackman from Panama scored on the 26th minute, 4 minutes later. And the moment Panama scored their first goal against the US and tied it to 1-1, we all knew that this game was going to be just hell for many of the US fans. It was going to end up dirty, it was going to end up looking ugly, and it was just not going to be pretty. And we expected for this game to be a game where we could have maybe won 2-0, 3-0, maybe even 4-0 because of how bad the US wanted it. All we had to do was win this game and we would have been safe. If we managed to win against Panama, then in the next game, no matter what happened, whether we lost against Uruguay, we would have still progressed. But now we are in deep trouble, like in very deep trouble. I cannot explain it enough. Now, many of you guys might say this is Gregg's fault, right? To the coach of the US, it's all his fault. The only reason why the US are suffering right now is because of him. I'm just gonna say no. For this game specifically, especially, right, it is not Gregg's fault. Gregg had nothing to do with how Tim Weah acted that resulted into the red card. He was not on the pitch and he did not pull anybody's shirt, he did not tackle somebody, he did not punch anybody. Gregg didn't do any of that. I think that in the first 10 minutes of the US playing, we were playing amazing. Yes, Panama saw some chances, but overall the US were creating many chances and we were very optimistic. So the tactics of Gregg looked 110% correct, but up until Tim Weah got the red card, I don't know what to tell you. This is not Gregg's fault. And you know what's so funny? I don't know if you guys have been following me on the Barca Media YouTube channel, because I do have another channel, and I am a Barcelona fan. Something very similar happened to me 3 months ago with Barcelona, and it was against PSG. And Barcelona, all they had to do was defeat PSG in the second leg in order for us to go into the next round and in the semifinals for the first time since 2019. That's all we needed to do. But Barcelona did lose against PSG badly, and we lost 4-1, and that is because Barcelona very early in the game committed to a red card, and that is because of the mistake coming from Ronald Araujo. Araujo made a huge mistake by going on a 1v1 defensive duel with another attacker, and he tackled that player even though he was not supposed to. And so Barcelona had to suffer for the rest of the 80 minutes. And many people were questioning, okay, should Xavi Hernandez get fired because of how Barcelona went down against PSG? Because we were supposed to win, right? Because before that game, Barcelona did win. We were supposed to win the second leg. So does this mean that Xavi Hernandez, the coach of Barcelona, should he get fired? And we all said no. Xavi Hernandez should not get fired and be criticized just based off this game, because at the end of the day, it was not his fault. He did not do that individual mistakes. He got the tactics right. Barcelona played amazing against PSG, but up until that red card from Ronald Araujo, everything fell apart. And all I said was, okay, yes, it was a mistake from Ronald Araujo. Yes, people are mad at Xavi Hernandez and they're just blaming Xavi because of this end result, even though it does not make any sense. What we all said, and we came to an agreement, let's just wait until the season is over for us to say, okay, is Xavi Hernandez the correct coach for FC Barcelona? We were not going to make any decisions just because Barcelona lost against PSG on that night. The same thing is going to go on with the US and Gregg Berhalter. Yes, we have just lost against Panama. It is 2-1, but everything is up for grabs. There is a huge reason why we should all be together and not target Gregg Berhalter. It just does not make any sense. We're in the middle of this war that we're about to go through. It makes no sense for us to target Gregg and say, Gregg needs to be fired. Let's wait and see what happens after we do finish against Uruguay. If we do get knocked out against Uruguay in that third game and the US are gone, right? It's just gone, right? Even though the US hosted this tournament, if they're gone, then we can assess, is Gregg Berhalter the right coach for the US? Then we can begin those conversations. Not right now. Right now we have to be more together than ever. We have to be united because they, right, the players, they're going to need us. And what's even crazier is that it's on a Monday. Like, how are you gonna have this game on a Monday when everybody's in a bad mood because they're coming back from work or like they're working, and then they're gonna go into this game not feeling fully alive? I wished this game was held like on a Friday or Saturday where everybody's just like kind of relaxed, on a relaxed mode and on a happier mood once they go into that stadium, because let me tell you, we need all the positivity in the world at Kansas. And it's going to be tough because I saw Uruguay and I've seen how they play, and in the Copa America they have been doing amazing, right? They beat Mexico 4-0. We saw 3 goals coming from Darwin Nunez. He's on God mode right now. Like, he's really showing up for Uruguay. In the second game for Uruguay, they have beaten Panama 3-1 with a goal coming from Araujo, another one coming from Nunez, and another one coming from Vina. And I just have no idea how Christian Pulisic himself is going to try and go through Ronald Araujo. Araujo is such one hell of a center back. That guy is just a monster. That guy is an animal. That guy will do anything it takes to protect the ball. And we need more than just Christian Pulisic. We need Tim Weah. We need Florian Balogun to all perform at 110%. Like, we need to be united in that game. And we have to be very careful on not losing the ball in dangerous areas. Tyler Adams, Gio Reyna, Weston McKennie have to be great ball retainers in the game. We cannot sit back and allow for Uruguay to try and score goals on us. And I feel like the US might do that, because when I saw the US sit back on a 5-4-1 against Panama, even though it was 1-1, I'm like, dude, this is the exact same thing Greg did against England. Like, when it was 1-1 and we were trying to look for the winner, Greg in the last 5 minutes told the whole US team, and he said, just sit back, like, forget it, don't even try and attack, like, let it go, let's just sit back and let's just take on this 1-1 tie against England, because this is all we can do. And to me, that is not growth mentality. Like, you have to go in there and realize that yes, you're in a 1-1 situation, right? It's tied right now, but you can go over there and win 2-1. Here in this game against Panama, the exact same thing happened. Yes, we did play with 10 men, but still, this guy did like so many substitutions in the second half. He's like, okay, Horvath come in for Turner, and I want Vickers to come in for Gio Reyna, and I need Johnny to come in for Tyler Adams. So we're gonna sit back on a 5-4-1 and just absorb all of the attack coming from Panama. And I'm like, I don't know if this is the greatest idea, because eventually Panama will find that goal, and they did, by the way, on the 83rd minute, which led towards us losing this game. Now, we did have a few chances here and there. Like, we saw Christian Pulisic go on the counterattack after we regained the ball. It was literally just Balogun and Christian Pulisic going up on top, and Weston McKennie had to go up there and like really go and run at the box and really act like a box-to-box midfielder, because they needed more support, and so more energy was being used by Weston McKennie, our heaviest player. Christian Pulisic did his thing though. I knew that Panama were being so annoyed by the way that he was counterattacking, because every time he had the ball, he really made the best out of it. There was a reason why I think it was Carrasquilla, I believe that was his name, from Panama. There's a reason why he fouled Christian Pulisic. Like, he literally kicked his legs so hard. Christian Pulisic did not even bother staying on the ground. Pulisic got so mad, he got right back up and pushed him so bad, because he's like, dude, like, really? You're really gonna try and kick me like this? And I understand his frustration. I understand the defenders from Panama, why they were frustrated, is because Christian Pulisic was out there beating 2 to 3 men in one move and creating chances. And so we did what we could from this situation. And this also does go back to what I did say earlier. I'm not gonna fully, blame Greg right now. I want to see, okay? I want to see how Greg finishes this tournament. We still have a game against Uruguay. This whole talk about, right, in the past 2 years, about how we talk about Balogun being a very dynamic striker, Christian Pulisic being one of the best US players ever to play the game. We talk about Timothy Weah, we talk about Gio Reyna, a very quality type of midfielder. We talk about Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie. We talk about like this golden generation that the US have right now. Show us, please. Right? Show us now. This is the time. If you want to show, right, to the world why this is the best US dynasty, right? The best US dynasty that has ever graced the game, you show it. And these are going to be the games, like the ones against Uruguay, where now you finally need to show it. If you believe that your team has a lot of quality and has a lot of players out there going to Europe and scoring goals and providing assists and defending well, if you think your team is so golden, go over there and show it. Don't be Belgium 2.0, please. Don't have all these players get wasted, because the reason why these players are so good good right now, and why many of these people talk about these players right now is because they do so well for their club. But can they show up for the US? Can they do that? Because that is what's really going to matter. This is the golden generation for the US, and so show it. Greg, please show it. Get the best out of these players. Get Christian Pulisic a setup where he can score 2 goals against Uruguay. Get Balogun a setup where he can score a goal. Get Tim Weah a setup where he can provide an assist. Get these tactics right. You have the quality to do so. These players can do it. So show us. I strongly believe that if the US get knocked out this early in the group stages and Uruguay trashes us 3-1, 4-1, whatever it is, right? 2-0, 3-0. If we get trashed or if we lose or whatever, I have a strong feeling that this will be the last game for Greg, for sure. You may say, but Kevin, you're being too pessimistic, you're being too negative. No, I just think that if you, right, you get knocked out from a tournament that you're hosting and you see these players and how good they are for their clubs, if you still manage to get out in the group stages that contains Panama and Bolivia and Uruguay, I'm sorry, but something will need to change, and it's first going to start with Greg. And so hopefully the US just end up winning against Uruguay. It will be one hell of a day. It'll start off my week very well. I will be very happy. I'll be a very happy man if the US manage to get through the next stages and beat Uruguay, because they'll show that they can be contenders. It's important, and we deserve it. I think that the US fans, we deserve something like this, something special, and these players can make it happen. And so that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.